Welcome to UX Happens in RVA. I'm Lisa Dance, and I'm a user experience researcher at ServiceEase. And what is user experience? User experience is not just what something looks like, it's how people, your customers, interact with your product, service, or technology. If you do it well, they're engaged and they purchase and they want to stay. And if you don't do it well, unfortunately, then customers leave. So at UX Happens in RVA, we're talking about how to improve user experience for your business. So today we have a special guest, Andrew Ilnicki, who's the director of the Innovation Studio at the University of Richmond. Andrew, welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little about yourself and the Innovation Studio?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's an initiative that started around creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And over the first few years, we did a lot of searching about where we could create new space at the university for this kind of activity, creative problem solving, design thinking, really human-centered design. But we also leveraged new technologies such as AI and software that designers would use in UX or related fields, front-end web. And so it's a space that we created literally in the library's attic to produce new knowledge, new products, new services, and envision new ways of working together and problem solve for society, for humanity at the university. And it's phenomenal. We were able to raise some money in the beginning to do it. We're trying to raise even more money to continue to do this work. And I work for the Provost's office, so it's a pan-university concept. It supports all schools, all students. But one of the fun things that happens is I invite faculty and staff and students into the same space to work on problems together. And that's where those beautiful collisions happen, ideas are sparked, and we're able to co-educate from all stakeholders and users at the same time around design thinking and problem solving. So it's a phenomenal space, great energy. We work with a variety of tools, and it's been a blast. I'm in my third year right now.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. And you had my ears peaked up when you said things like creativity and problem solving and things, not just your products, but also for the community as well. And what's something that's funny, a lot of times people say, I'm not creative. And I'm saying, can you solve a problem? Then you're probably creative because you have to go through some different iterations to figure out a problem.
Absolutely.
You know, it's wonderful to see the pulling together people in different disciplines, university, because they problem solve differently.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where the innovation comes in.
There you go.
Okay, I love it. Just for people who don't know, what is innovation?
We define it in a variety of ways. I was at VCU for 17 years, and both in the art school, but then also in the Da Vinci Center, which is a multidisciplinary program. And I think at the end of the day, it is problem solving, but it's combining things together in a unique way that creates new value. Now, a lot of times, I was in the product innovation side of the house. So who are you solving a problem for? And a lot of times it's a business will come to you with maybe a seed of an idea or a problem, and they don't necessarily know how to solve it. And so 18 to 25-year-olds, if the audience for the product, service, whatever the problem space entails, if those folks are going to have unique insights into how to solve that problem differently, new, better, and we can talk about incremental versus disruptive. Those programs are how we bring students into the fold. Innovation happens everywhere at the university. It doesn't just happen in one school. But the way that artists, business majors, engineers, humanities, and then the medical school worked on those problems, it was really interesting to have that cross-pollination across the school. And I thought the career that I was so happy to have and lucky to be almost in the right place at the right time as the Da Vinci Center was coming online and being a force for good and bringing the art school more into those conversations at the head of the table to help make decisions and help give fine artists access to that way of doing, making, problem solving. It was really phenomenal, and that helped basically set me up for what I hope is another long career at Richmond doing the same kind of work. The University of Richmond, though, is a little different. It's small liberal arts. VCU's got 30,000 students. We have 3,000.
Okay, yeah.
And the majors are a little different, really strong business school. But I'm also working with students in the arts and sciences on like biodesign, creating new products, services for sustainable solutions for the future, looking at climate science, but also communication and how we get these ideas across in new ways, build new physical products. So it really, to me, it does come back to problem solving and getting to a new solution in a unique way that provides value. But that can happen anywhere and everywhere. And the infectious energy that comes from bringing people together and working on a potential solution in a new way, it always gives me just the best energy. And I find that energy becomes infectious for the whole campus.
I would definitely think so. I think about sometimes in sessions and someone had an idea and then another person says, oh, yes, and then add something else onto it.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, it's, oh, this beautiful thing is being co-created together.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely understand and appreciate that. So we've talked a little bit about the Innovation Studio. What's like the primary goal for it?
Bring more access to creative problem solving, design thinking, the entrepreneurial mindset to as many students, staff, and faculty as possible. So on one hand, you have students who maybe have an idea that originated in a classroom. They want to keep going. I don't want this I've been saying this forever. This could die as a PowerPoint in class, right? You could get your grade and move on. Or you could say, I really think this has potential, and I've had great feedback from the faculty member, maybe the client or the nonprofit that we've worked with. Everybody wants to keep it going. Sometimes there's no curricular path to do that that's clean and easy. So we work primarily in a co-curricular fashion, meaning, yes, it's extra, it's on the side, but we try to bring people's passions to life and get to the next iteration. And so it's like overwhelmingly all over the place. Students are in different stages in their creation process. So you have to meet people where they are and give them the tools to be successful and get to the next stage. But you help students roadmap. You help them set goals for themselves and then achieve those goals. And I'm like one person. You can't do it yourself. So you have to identify who are the student or faculty or staff's like trusted advisors in their life, who are faculty that can help them reach their goals that they're not engaging with, who are community members, who are possibly industry partners that could weigh in. And so, yes, you move from insight to innovation to maybe even startup or nonprofit in some cases. Sometimes we have a social good that's really at heart here. So we work with students in a variety of ways, but we also incubate staff ideas as well. Especially with the rise of AI, staff are looking for, there's got to be a more economical or efficient way to do something that's repetitive. Here comes AI.
Okay.
So even Friday, we're doing a vibe coding workshop, and we have a couple of great staff who came to the last session, and I helped solve the university's problem. This whole thing took a few months, but we did it internally. We didn't need to hire out. I didn't feel like I needed to be a developer, app, or web to do it. We were just able to work iteratively on this problem over time, and here's where we are. And I think that's amazing, and it's inspirational for everybody in that room who maybe was not a builder or didn't see themselves as a builder. You use the word creative, but like maybe they're not a builder, but now they are. And they surprise themselves. Right. Think about the confidence that builds in a person. Think about the leadership capabilities. It's the same kind of maturation that we hope for in our students, but it doesn't have to just happen to students. And so creating that innovation hub culture where that energy's in the bricks of the place. And I think that's my end goal.
That sounds wonderful. It's talking about students and they have this idea and then maybe can go on past the PowerPoint in a class. And I can think back when I was in school and I had a professor saying, I think this is a really good idea. You should do something with it. But I didn't have, what do you do? So having that resources and knowledge and a place to help me get started would have been wonderful. So
and we all, people that I've worked with in this space, my good friend Samaya, we met at VCU, but also Allison Schumacher, Garrett Westlake, Lloyd Young, who now leads the Da Vinci Center. I know I'm leaving people out, but just to be brief, everybody that has worked in that space in a cross-disciplinary or an interdisciplinary program, we all feel that way. And even in graduate school, as you're transitioning from undergrad experience to grad experience to problem seek and then problem solve for education itself, we all feel that way. And so I think at some level, what we're all as educators trying to do is reimagine the university experience for next generation. What are the things that we wish we had? And this is something that I do talk about when I meet with other schools in the area. I have done this for many years. how do you inspire students to seek out problems or like spot opportunities almost everywhere around you? Because it does happen. And I do have some examples, like I'm from New York. I was a bagel guy back then. Anymore, I try not to have so many carbs, but everybody has had a bagel, loves bagels, where there was a time before everything bagels. Now it's everywhere, to the point now we have everything bagel seasoning. And I tell them a story about basically seeing that opportunity and not moving on it at that time, and just the regret that I feel. And then there's other websites that exist. I came up in education through the .com boom. I know other people that bought .coms and then sold them for millions of dollars. I came up with an idea that's very similar to MySpace, but didn't move on it. It literally stopped as a graphic design project in my class. And I vividly remember one of my favorite faculty members' face when I presented it. It was almost like, the design's the design, but this is just a phenomenal idea. Yeah. And I never moved on it. Others did. And I just think that had I had a Da Vinci Center, had I had an innovation studio, who knows, not that I regret my life, because I don't. I met my wife, have beautiful family and kids, and have had a wonderful career. But just who knows what would have come from becoming a founder on those two projects that I named. And there are opportunities everywhere. And so just trying to impress upon students, while they can take risks in higher ed and they can really stretch out, learn new things, grow their confidence, build capabilities that maybe were invisible to them, but they have them, realize them, and do it with the university. And we take no IP. We take all the equity as the students. What a phenomenal foundation for risk taking.
Absolutely, definitely. And bringing together resources, because a lot of times you may have an idea, but you don't know anybody in this area, or I need to figure out this piece right here. Having those resources
Absolutely.
That you all can then bring to bear to actually move an idea out and test it.
100%. And sometimes we can't, so we don't literally give students money, although I am raising money to do prototyping funds to help people to get to that iteration at that level, but it's the educational pathways that lead to that. How do you know you have a good idea? We do design thinking. We do lean customer discovery. And I actually will pay students as though they were an intern for their own company to do summer research and talk to users. And it's through the ICAP program, which State of Virginia, Commonwealth, has a really phenomenal program for young entrepreneurs to do that. We might be the only university in Virginia that actually pays you to go through ICAP as a student. So it's it's a lot of work. We're very clear with the students, but it is game changing to see students go from design thinking to lean and then really hone their idea, trying to get the product market fit for their concept. That is an indicator for a high degree of success for those students. Again, something that didn't exist when I was in school, wish it did. We're now trying to deliver on that promise.
My ears always pick up when you say customers and research.
I knew it would.
And you said something about user experience earlier, so my ears are like... So let's talk about a little bit about how innovation and user experience, how they intersect.
Sure. So our students come to us and they want to solve a problem, or they have an idea. It's in a problem space. And so sometimes it begins with self-design. This would really solve my problem. And we have had students come up, 37 Signals in Basecamp. We designed this as an internal tool for us, but we've decided to white label it and then sell it. Like, is it truly innovative? Possibly not. And I think that's the first thing. Some great ideas begin with self-design, and then it can be sold. We try to begin from a point of empathy and use almost like a user-centered design method to problem seek and then problem solve. And so at the end of the day, I think it comes down to divergent and convergent thinking and how to know where you are in a process of innovation and like constantly be working through those divergent and convergent steps in a variety of ways. Yes, user interviews and empathetic interviews come down to it has a part in the process. If you listen to Teresa Torres and anyone else that's a professional in the space, that never stops. And it really doesn't. It just comes down to, where am I in the current stage of iteration? And you're going to have to continue to do customer discovery. I just don't think students necessarily always think my idea is a business, and they definitely don't think I'm an entrepreneur. I would say 20% of the students, they're entrepreneurs who are students. And I think the other part of what we do is we help students realize, yeah, they are more capable of this work than they realize. It is for them. And a little bit of innovative practice and entrepreneurial mindset building will go a long way, even if they're in the sciences or if they're going into healthcare or veterinary, as some of our students are doing. It is for you. It will help you better manage complexity in your life. It will help you identify experiments that you want to run, if we can use that word, and how to track whether there's success. So setting up KPIs, OKRs, and having people practice that and do that for nonprofits, clients, local projects. We do a lot of this stuff with our dining hall on campus, for example, and help train students on what they are already familiar with, but then bring them through a process of innovation. And at the end of the day, for dining hall, it is improving customer experiences. They're the customer, but they're also maybe not someone from a different country who's coming to the United States, specifically Richmond, for the first time, and showing up and all the food they have to eat is not what they're used to. That is a very common phenomenon. So grappling with that problem space, how do you help someone feel less isolated, less homesick, develop a support system? They're customer problems, but they're human problems that we all deal with and wrestle with. I think the innovation toolkit is one way to express, I resonate deeply with this problem space. We're going to work on it, and we're going to get to a better iteration, hopefully, and maybe we're going to pull in multiple ideas that can help solve a problem, and it's a win for everybody.
Great. And I think with innovation, like you're creating something new, a lot of times people have had innovation that hasn't necessarily taken off because they didn't actually talk with customers and users. And it's a good idea in form, but the refinement, it was actually tying it to what customers need, or even just their understanding of what this.
And I know we talk about this a lot, but what happens when you think you have a good idea? It'll work for you in your immediate spheres of influence that are reinforcing, yo, that's a great idea. I would totally buy it. Yes. Would you really? Yes. And so that's the moment that, like, I've got something, is when you can get people to take out their wallet and buy it. This is such a hair on fire problem for me. I'm going to pay you to solve it for me. Your thing does it. And you would just be surprised, though, even the amount of serial entrepreneurs that think they're really great at customer discovery, but then will admit behind the scenes, yeah, I didn't follow my own advice, and I kind of jumped through the process to the end. And I think that is, so when you focus on tools, IDEO, we use design thinking frameworks, although there are others. And I do think design thinking plus lean, maybe a little bit of lateral thinking in the middle, and creative problem solving is about 80 different tools. That design thinking, it's 6 of the tools in a particular sequence. But that research has been out there since the 50s. And it comes down to human behavior. Psych is a big part of it. We talk about UX like it's a tech job. That's a certain aspect of it, but we're surrounded by sale opportunities all the time. We're bombarded by communications. And so really thinking about, like, experience design is a total discipline. It involves every discipline. No one discipline owns it. And I think when you talk about building interdisciplinary centers in academia, but also in business, it really works because you're creating, no one person is doing one thing. You're all learning together. You're coming up with an articulation of a problem space, potential solutions together, and you're thinking through the process laterally from multiple points of view and perspective. That's where the magic is, and that's what major league product teams do. Even though we all have our individual roles and our things that we have to do individually, it's that collective. And so we try to do that as much as possible and try to get students onto that kind of thinking, because in a siloed organization like academia tends to be, it's unusual. It's unusual to work that way.
That's wonderful that you're getting students used to that way of working earlier on, because like I said, that does both when you're working in organizations or working for yourself to have the best outcome, because you're bringing in those different mindsets and making, or you also have that input and understanding of customers. So that innovation in user experience or experience design can really make a difference in having success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to thank you for coming today, and I wanted to mention an event because you were kind enough to host an event that I'm having on December 3rd. It's the UX Census RVA Survey Insights Night. The UX Census RVA survey is that annual survey of the user experience community, and this is a fun and engaging night where we come out and talk about those insights around the user experience landscape. So if anybody who's in the user experience or related field and really wants to understand how user experience is being practiced here, it helps them make more informed decisions about their career. It's a great night. Or if you're UX curious, it helps you understand what's going on here locally and you can meet people. So that's going to be December 3rd, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Boatwright Library on the University of Richmond campus. If you want more information, then visit uxcensusrva.org and you can find out more and register. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, Andrew, and let people know how they can contact you if they want to find out more about the Innovation Studio.
Absolutely. Innovation.richmond.edu. And it'll bring you right there. If you want to book a consultation with me, there's an easy way to do that right from that website. And you can also see some of our great student opportunities and past successful student paths with some really great case studies out there as well.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So thank you again. And this is UX Happens in RVA. I'm Lisa Dance, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.